Good evening, I'm Regina, Manyara, and those names are found in the National Identity Card, mine, and they equally match my physical attributes. However, for intersex persons in the country, this is one of the predicaments that a majority face. Tonight on Sunday Express, our very own Sheila Yogo is going to be expounding on the dilemma intersex persons face in as far as identity is concerned, on a news piece that should be keeping you glued to Sunday Express. But before we look at that feature, let's find out what Sunday Express is all about in the headlines. Political power play. A section of Rift Valley leaders accuse political detractors of plotting to sever the president and deputy president's working relationship. A place in history. Beatrice Chebet books a place at the Paris Olympic Games after breaking the 10,000 meters world record in Eugene in the US. And male or female, tonight we feature the plight of intersex persons' gender dilemma. This is Sunday Express. I'm Regina, Manyara, and my colleague on sign language is none other than Byron Abuli. A section of Rift Valley leaders has defended the working relationship between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua and accused their political detractors of driving a wedge between the two. The Kenya Kwanza leaders who accompanied Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua for an interdenominational church service at Matharu Primary School in Keses, Uasin Gishu County, called on other leaders within the ruling coalition to come to the fold and forego the 2032 political succession talks. On his part, the deputy called for an end to tribal politics, which he says had previously divided the nation.
For the second day running, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua pitched camp in Keses, Uasin Gishu County. It is here where the Kenya Kwanza leaders accompanying the country's second-in-command called for unity within their ranks and focus on delivering their promises to the electorate.
Mimi na rais tunafanya kazi nzuri, tunapendana, tunapanga kazi yetu, amenipatia kazi mingi, hata ingine inanishinda, ameniwezesha kuendelea na kazi yangu. Kwa hivyo serikali yetu iko imara, tunaendelea na kazi.
Hii siasa kidogo kidogo watu waache. Na Your Excellency kalia kiti vizuri na proper. Na uendeshe gari pale mbele, kalia steering. Na usaidie William Ruto tuende Ruto term 2 kwa sababu tuko na haja na kuona term 2.
Sisi viongozi vijana pia tuwe watu wa kuheshimu wale viongozi wako mbele yetu, ili miaka zingine pia tupate hiyo baraka ya kusonga mbele.
Kwa hivyo na waomba na wasihi, hiyo amani tuweke. Hiyo amani tuweke na tupeane heshima, kwa sababu heshima ndio kitu ya maana.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua urged the populace to give a deaf ear to the political leaders propagating tribal politics.
Lakini kila mtu sasa amekuja kujua ukweli. Rais William Ruto ni kiongozi wa kuaminika, ni kiongozi mzalendo, ni kiongozi wa kuunganisha watu, ni kiongozi hana ukabila, ni kiongozi wa kuchunga watu wake.
Basi hapo tumefika, tuseme ni kwa sababu ya uwezo wa Mwenyezi Mungu. Na hiyo boma yetu tusikubali isabaratike. Hiyo nyumba tuishikilie.
Deputy President 100% ameunga mkono our president, na ningependa kusema kwamba serikali ya Kenya Kwanza haitagawanyika hata kamwe.
Ningeomba mkiwa na rais, muite vijana wetu, muite watu ya chama yetu, tuingie kwa nyumba moja, tuingie kwa hema, tuite mkutano wa wajumbe wa UDA, tutengeneze nyumba yetu mahali iko makosa kidogo kidogo.
The DP also launched a market in Madharu. Abdiaziz Hashim for Sunday Express.
We'll be keeping tabs on what is developing in the political scene. Now we hop onto matters security, where a joint team consisting of officers from GSU, AP and KDF has deployed 5 armed personnel carriers to enhance aerial surveillance in tracking down bandits who shot at a KDF officer and a woman in Baringa North yesterday. Today, the KDF team and NPR successfully recovered 29 goats, with the bandits believed to have survived the airstrike. Tension remains high, with shopping centers closed. About 20 schools have also been closed following the attack.
Luruk area in Baringa County. A seemingly deserted area following a morning banditry incident that has left one KDF officer and a woman nursing serious injuries. Locals that witnessed the incident say the bandits came in around 8 a.m. in the morning in large numbers and made away with over 140 goats belonging to 8 families before the Kenya Defence Forces responded.
Alianzia na boma ya ndugu yangu mkubwa, ndio akateremka yangu, ndio akafungia mama nyumba na watoto walitoroka, mpaka saa hizi sijapata watoto 3.
Gari ya jeshi iliingia, wakapigana na wao, mpaka nasikia hata kuna askari mmoja amepigwa risasi.
KDF responded with an aerial attack, deploying 3 choppers, 2 to drive the bandits from their hideouts and 1 to airlift the injured. The affected residents call on the government to step up its efforts in restoring calmness in the area.
Hii kitu imekuwa disaster. Watu wanapikwa, saa ile imenyamaza, watu wanaambiwa rudi, alafu wanaanza kushambulia watu.
Na watoto hata sasa ukiambia waende shule hawana matumaini, wanasema tutasoma ya nini? So hii kitu imekuwa mbaya sana.
Most of the displaced persons had started coming back to the area. Meanwhile, over 100 athletes from pastoralist communities that are prone to banditry attacks and cattle rustling took part in a 50-kilometer race dubbed the Peace Ultra Marathon. The race traversed the counties of Meru, Laikipia and Isiolo to propagate peace and cohesion in the region.
Tunataka kuhusisha vijana wetu na wamama wetu katika mambo ya amani.
Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
Now, a section of Azimio leaders has faulted the government over its plan to push through with Haiti mission despite the court order halting the process. Leaders led by Wipers Kalonzo Musyoka say the government risks lawsuits for contempt of court.
Azimio leaders now say the government will be solely responsible for the fate of police officers deployed in Haiti mission. Speaking in Nairobi, the leaders say pushing through the mission, despite the court orders, the government risks being held in contempt for contravening the courts.
First of all, there must be a bilateral arrangement with an authority in Haiti able to sign, because there's a prime minister who flew in here. He never flew back. And that's when some documents were signed. There must be an authority able to sign bilateral agreements.
In sending our children to Haiti is unconstitutional, it is illegal, and we stand opposed to it.
The church joining the fray.
Tukituma askari wetu kwenda kulinda nje ya Haiti na kuwapatia hawa amani, kama sisi kuna sehemu zetu ambazo hazina amani. Tunaomba ya kwamba tunapofanya hiyo, basi tuhakikishe nyumbani ni salama, ndio tukue mfano mzuri hata kimataifa.
The Azimio leaders have in the meantime faulted the recent tour by the president to the United States of America amid reactions from Kenyans over the cost implications on the state visit.
These are some of the things that we expect leaders to speak openly and be truthful about this thing. And then let Kenyans then judge which is cheaper. But it is good that President Ruto has responded to that concern by Kenyans. And because he has, let all the facts be laid bare so that the truth will be known to Kenyans.
You pay 200 million shillings to fly out. Unatoa chakula kwa watoto hawa ambao hawana hata wazazi wengine. wengine ni single parents, na unatumia zile pesa kupanda ndege. We need this voice of the voiceless.
The government allied parties defending the USA trip.
The trip has brought a lot of goodies for this country. Let us be honest. It's good to critique. It's good to have opposition in government so that the government of the day is put to check. But the truth must always be said. Imagine of dueling of Mombasa-Nairobi highway. That in itself has immense impact on the economy of this country.
For Sunday Express, I'm Gladys Mongai.
The government is employing one government approach in dealing with the aftermath of floods which affected many counties across the country. Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of East African Region, Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, Penina Malonza, said that the loss of about 320 Kenyans due to floods and leaving many displaced as well as homeless was regrettable.
The government is currently putting measures in place to address the effects of floods that claimed many lives and displaced many families. East African Region and ASAL Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza says that all government agencies assisted by well-wishers had come together to address the impact of the heavy rains to ensure that all victims get the necessary help.
The most affected county in the nation, actually, as it stands out in terms of camps, is Tana River County, that has been affected not because it's raining down there, but because of the waters from the islands and also the spilling that has happened in our Seven Forks dams.
We would like to call upon the President to expedite the process of completing this TOT project, including also the Thwaken Dam and other projects the former regime initiated in this region.
In the meantime, a section of residents in Gataka area in Kajiado County is calling on the county and national government to assist in getting alternative means of transport after the road connecting to their homes was cut off by the heavy downpour.
This water has resulted from the rainwater, but more so because of poor drainage system along Gataka Road. See, when it was tarmacked, they did not put a drainage system.
We have so many residents here. We have institutions, schools, churches, and so many people are staying here. So we need to get it back into a usable state.
The residents have been forced to construct a makeshift bridge to enable them cross the road largely occupied by the flood waters.
Nafanya kazi hapa wando transporta watu kwenda kanisa. Imetu affect sana because njia haipatikani.
It's a disaster which we didn't expect, and we are hoping that soon our road will be brought back into usable state.
They say the submerged area is now posing risk to children and the locals at large.
So vile iko open hivi, watoto wengi wanaona kama wanaweza enda kuogelea. Na kwenda kuogelea pale, mtoto kabla hatujasikia lolote libaya, ni heri serikali wakuje wenyewe.
We have suffered a lot as the community of this area. We had, especially when it was raining, and we had no access at all.
From far, you will tend to imagine that this is a lake or a dam, but that is not the case. This is the Mother Nature's wrath, resulting to the road being cut off and the church submerged. They are now calling on the county government to intervene and salvage the situation. Timothy Kipnoso for Sunday Express, Kajiado County.
The government is pursuing a public-private partnership to facilitate the construction of the Korusoin multi-purpose dam, information, communication and digital economy. Cabinet Secretary Eli Dowalo, while speaking in Kisumu, said inadequate resources in the country has led to the re-engineering of the project's model, as Wycliffe Okech now reports.
The Korusoin multipurpose dam has stalled for decades due to what the government terms as resource inadequacy, delaying mitigation efforts to alleviate Kisumu residents from the effects of perennial flooding in the Kano Plains. However, the government is now pursuing the public-private option to mobilize resources towards the multipurpose project.
What we are doing as a Kenya Kwanza government is to re-engineer the model for the Korusoin dam, as opposed to waiting for year in, year out for government to factor in money from the national treasury, which will take a long time. We are moving with speed and diligence to pursue a public-private partnership arrangement for the coral soil dam so that it is pursued to a logical conclusion.
President William Ruto will be opening the Nyanza International Conference in June, where stalled projects in the region will be presented to the private sector to forge a working partnership with the government.
The President himself will officiate at the Nyanza International Investment Conference, leading from the front by bringing in investors from all over the world to come and match their interests with the development potential of this region.
Owalo spoke as he attended a church service in Moroni, Kisumu County, before leading a relief food distribution exercise for flood victims in the same sub-county. Calls for the region to rally behind President William Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza administration also finding way in the speeches.
Let us stand up, support our government, work with the President so that we have a better country, a better region, and ensure that our projects are done. This time round, there are no two ways. Either we work with the government or we bring the government where you are. So it is a zero-sum game. We better be ready early enough.
For Sunday Express from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
The role of the male figure in the family setup took center stage during the Catholic Men Association music competition held at St. Martin's de Porres, Karuri in Kiambu County. During the contest, men were challenged to take up their role within the family unit, and St. Stephen Gashie Parish emerged the winner during this year's music competition after scoring 89 points, while Holy Family Mugumu Parish were runners-up in a close contest in which they garnered 88 points.
The sound of music. These were the sights and sounds as Catholic Men Association members from 10 parishes in Kiambu Dinari came together to compete during this year's music festival. It was a powerful display of their vocals as they each clamored to win the title. During the event, men were also challenged to team up and work together to protect the family unit and overcome the challenges that affect them in the society, especially economically.
Umekaa hapo na upweke na shida zako, tokelezea kwa wanaume. Shida zako tokuwa half solved wakati unahusiana na wao. Kubuka sio kuiba tu. Kutoka hapa sisi tunaenda kukula pamoja. Tutacheka, tufurahie. Kwa hivyo sio vizuri wewe mwanaume ukiwa kwa nyumbani ukae peke yako. Kuja shirikiana na wanaume wengine na utapata furaha.
Teacher Lawrence Njuguna alias Mwalimu Kinyozi hailed the men for embracing the challenge and turning up in their numbers for the competition, saying it doubled up as an opportunity to evangelize through music.
Kufunza wazee si kazi rahisi, kuwafunza kwa sababu saa zingine unafunza mzazi wako na wazee ndio wanakuaga na mamlaka, mambo mingi, ndio wenye boma, so kuwafunza inakuanga kazi ngumu.
According to them, the coming together of men was a step in the right direction in encouraging men to work together.
We have seen men relax their mind, looking at life positively, because you need to sit down to learn. You cannot learn when you are not sober, and that is what we are saying.
Men coordinating the Archdiocese of Nairobi, Joshua Njoroge Mburu, lauded the Archbishop of Nairobi, Philip Anyolo, for the effort in bringing men together as a form of team building.
The technical part of this year in the song is quite challenging, and it was put that intentionally because life is also very challenging for men. And then when you are challenged by the song and you quit, what about when you are challenged by a family issue or a child or a parenting issue? The society is not kind to so many things, and we are teaching and training men that despite the hardship of the journey, you must rise and move on.
St. Stephen Gashie Parish emerged the winner with 89 points, while Holy Family Mugumo was second with 88 points. All Saints Riara Parish was third with 87 points.
So as a Catholic, well, indeed, we are proud for that particular feat, bringing men together under CMA, what we refer to as the Catholic Men Association. Well, women also have the CWA. So yes, let's talk about why we need to have a close-knit unit. that is the family unit. Now to matters of youth and drugs, where a section of leaders are calling for the empowerment of the boy child, who they say is being disenfranchised in the wake of unemployment opportunities. Speaking during the commissioning of Presbyterian Church Men Fellowship at PCEA Rongai Chapel in Kajiado County, the clergy called on the government to address issues affecting the boy child, saying most of them are in a state of hopelessness. They attributed the rising cases of crime to the challenge of unemployment and drug abuse among the youth.
Kuna wakati jamii ilipendelea sana upande wa mtoto wa kike na mtoto wa kijana akasahaulika. Na kwa hivyo wababa wamechukua jukumu la kunacha na kumenta hawa vijana. Tunapinga mambo mengine ambayo yanaathiri wanaume kama madawa ya kulevya, ulevi, na hasa wale ambao wamekubwa na mambo hayo ya ulevi na madawa ya kulevya. Sio ati wanafanya hivyo kwa sababu ni wanaume, kwa sababu wanapenda. Wakati mwingi wanajipata kwa shida zile kwa sababu wametelekezwa kwa jamii.
Huwa tunaweza kuwafundisha mambo mengi, mambo ya entrepreneurship through the mentorship. Tuna pia jobs opportunities ambazo tunafanya networking, pahali pa watu sisi tunafanya kazi, tunaweza kuwaelekeza na hata kuwaelekeza jinsi gani ya kuweza kufanya application ziwe successful na waweze kupata kazi.
Very nice experience. Personally, I was being admission today, and I also want to call upon so many young men around here and also countrywide that they should come forward. They should stand as the men that they are supposed to be, because in future they are going to be the leaders of the society.
We take our first breather, but we have so much more lined up for you on Sunday Express, including that particular special feature by Sheila Yogo on the challenges that are faced by intersex persons in the country. Do keep it right here.
#570# kuna ploti na ni up to 1.1 million Kenyan shillings with a genuine title deed na inakungoja. #570# buka na shake.
Mizimu imesema atakayekuwa kiongozi ni yule pete itamchagua.
Bahari imechafuka. Mrithi wangu ni yule atakayeniletea vuo la kuoga.
Sasa na hili vuo wachana nalo, wakati wake umepita.
Pete hii ni ishara ya utawala.
Huu uongozi tusimwachie Jasiri.
Kwa nini uongozi usimwende Jasiri? Na wauliza nyinyi, Jasiri ana nini?
Kiva hakuna atakayekusumbua.
I never joke around with serious agendas. Beautiful. Atito, you mean even today is beautiful today?
What full stall? Do you think you will get away with this? Do you know me?
What is wrong with you guys? You want musenne. Why can't you just mind your own businesses? And of course, this woman is Araya.
Maalimu Balis, we just did our job.
Your job is also to use your medulla oblongata.
Can't you people stay without drama for 1 month? Just 1 month, Massage club, cleaning up your messes.
Welcome back. Now there is need to empower women economically to reduce poverty rates in the country. While addressing United Nations Women in Nairobi, Principal Secretary in the State Department of Gender, Anne Wangombe, said Empowering women will unlock their full potential and bridge the inequality gap that threatens to leave half of the country's population in poverty.
Despite global commitments to gender equality and empowerment of women and girls, significant gaps persist in efforts to advance women's economic empowerment.
And we cannot talk about gender equality without addressing the stubborn gender pay gap, where in East and Southern Africa, women in the labor market earn 81 cents for every dollar earned by men.
Addressing these challenges needs increasing investments to support women.
We need to focus on increasing investments in much-needed basic infrastructure, including accessible and affordable water and sanitation facilities and clean energy, which can really boost women and girls' health and their participation in employment, in education, and help reduce their unpaid care burden.
Principal Secretary, State Department of Gender Anne Wangombe, says empowering women will help reduce poverty rate in the country.
We note, therefore, the need for continued investment in programs and initiatives that address underlying structural barriers to women's economic empowerment.
The goal is to create millions of decent jobs for women in the care sector and facilitate the economic participation more broadly, including in high-paying male-dominated sectors.
In transforming care systems, we know we could create up to 300 million new jobs by 2035 if we have targeted investments in the care sector.
UN Women partners with the African Development Bank Group to launch women's economic empowerment strategy that will address the challenges women go through economically.
We are trying to see what we can do to reduce the overall cost of lending to women businesses.
Paulina Simil for Sunday Express.
Now imagine a scenario where the name on your national identity card does not match your physical gender attributes. This is a predicament Frank Robert Kibagendi faced until he managed to change the details on his ID card, including dropping the name Francisca Kumboke and changing the sex marker from female to male. Sheila Yogo with the story.
This person needs to make sure that even teachers, they understand what that means.
Meet Frankie Robert Kibagendi, an intersex who was assigned a sex identity through surgery.
At that time, they did what we call intersex gender mutation. That's a small process of which parents, through the guidance of the doctors, do some surgeries to correct. So that's what they did, and they gave me Francisca Kwamboga Kibagendi.
A name that subjected him to scrutiny whenever he needed services.
Now giving your ID, reading Francisca Kwamboga Kibagendi, and the person people seeing is very different. It's a man.
Such is the challenge that intersex persons face.
You can't open an M-Pesa number if you don't have your ID. If you want to buy any property, you must use your ID.
An intersex person is born with a combination of male and female biological traits.
Mimi ni mtu mzima, nimefikisha 18 ndio mara niko na ID. Mbona sasa niibe ID ya mtu mwingine? Ona sasa hapa ndipo namwambia hivi, this is my name. Sisi chukua hata kama sasa hata ukienda kusema unitia kwa askari. Kwa sababu pia askari kwanza atakushika juu atashangaa Nancy. Na unakaa kijana.
With the amendment of Children's Act 2022 to recognize the existence of intersex children and the need for proper documentation and protection just like any other child, Kwamboka decided to change the narrative, and the journey to change details on the ID began.
And that helped me to change my birth certificate from Francisca Kwamboga Kibagendi to Frank Robert Kibagendi.
But it was not a rosy affair.
And some officers, they were like, we have been doing changes, but not change of sex, but change of names. But as a person, I was after changing of my names and changing of my sex in that sex mark, in that document.
It was a journey that involved creating awareness.
I went to the other office whereby the entire team knew completely nothing about intersex persons. So I started by creating awareness, advocating for the rights of intersex persons in that office. In those offices, still we treat intersex persons as a new thing. And also we are being given specific officers in those offices to handle intersex work or intersex persons.
Intersex persons being categorized under the LGBTQ plus body makes it harder for intersex persons to enjoy their rights.
They confuse a lot intersex persons with the trans persons. But again, it was my responsibility to make sure that we give them the clear information and the difference between the intersex persons and transgender. And also some other members, they talk about LGBT and intersex. So there's a lot of misinformation outside there.
After back and forth journey, Kibagendi managed to change the name from Francisca Kwamboka Kibagendi to Frankie Robert Kibagendi.
I was very happy than any day in my life. I'm happiest person ever in this world.
In 2023, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights drafted a bill that is yet to be tabled in Parliament. Under Part 2 of the draft, an intersex person may at any time apply to the Registrar of Persons to amend the sex marker on their ID cards.
If a corrective surgery was done and it was a wrong one, the manifestation of the sex has now taken a different form, then this person should be able to have their documentation, changed. So it's one of the provisions in the draft bill that we have made.
Article 12 of the Kenyan Constitution says every Kenyan is entitled to an identification document, including a passport and a national identity card. The national identity card is one of the crucial documents that one needs to access services. The intersex persons of Kenya continue to face discrimination, harassment, and even denied some of the services because they lack the eye marker or their preferred sex identity on their ID cards. Sheila Kayaroyogo reporting for KBC in Nairobi.
That actually must be a challenge, I can imagine. My ID reads Regina, but then I would be looking like maybe Mike and having to explain, especially to the authorities, why I need to receive particular services with an ID that supposedly doesn't belong to me. You can catch a repeat of that and even online of that particular story by Sheila Yogo on our various social media platforms. Now off to the counties where Dorcas Rigathi, the spouse to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, is expressing concern over increased cases of drug and substance abuse in northern Kenya. Speaking during the annual Education and Family Day at Thika High School, Pastor Dorcas said a majority of youth fall into the trap of drug addiction, urging the youth to focus on positive social practices. Here are the details in our county news roundup.
The problem of drug abuse and addiction was revisited during the annual Education and Family Day at Thika High School in Kiambu County. The event presided over by Pastor Dorcas Rigathi saw concerns raised over the problem of drug abuse, with young people cautioned against it.
We must take our collective responsibility to keep drugs and alcohol away from our children.
Meanwhile, the National Government Constituency Development Fund in Teso North has unveiled a strategic plan aimed at championing for skill-based literacy among the youth.
We are going to focus on those other areas which are important.
And chaos erupted at the Anglican Church of Kenya Holy Trinity in Kajiado as two warring factions clashed over the results of an election held 2 months ago.
Hata yule alikuwa ameambiwa kuja shikilie kwa muda, wamemuondoa na akarudisha canon. It's like we don't have our rights kama washirika wa hii church.
Inaonekana ni kama walikuwa na order ya kusupport group moja na group ile ingine waiweze kuitoa nje.
Separately, these were the scenes in Meru County. Football lovers who support one of the international football clubs united for more than the love of the sport to donate blood. In a rare show, the fans donated blood at the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital in a move they say was aimed at saving lives by donating blood.
Tukaonelea ni vizuri tukue na hii charity na ndio tuweze kucharge hata fans wengine kama wale wa Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool wajitokeze tukue tunashikiliana.
Finally, in Nairobi, Kenyans have been urged to consider looking into traditional medicine as an alternative to reproductive health challenges. Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
Another breather, and we'll be back with more, including what is happening in the sporting arena with none other than Daniel Mohammed. To keep it right here.
Watch the Mozartbet Cup as teams from both the top tier and low tier battle for the ultimate prize of representing the country in Africa's CAF Confederations Cup. Catch all the action live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, beginning with a round of 16 matches, the quarter-final, semi-final and the final. Mozartbet Cup, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Nearly 500,000 people in informal settlements within Nairobi are set to access sewerage services thanks to the implementation of the second phase of the Nairobi Sewerage Improvement Project. Caroline Kamau has the details on the impact the sewer upgrade to residents living in formal settlements in the capital of Nairobi will have.
The heavy rains experienced in the country in recent weeks were a wake-up call that laid bare the poor status of drainage and sewerage system in major urban areas, especially the capital, Nairobi. Poor sanitation in Nairobi's informal settlements, so residents bear the biggest brunt of the floods.
Kulikuwa na poor drainage, mambo ya water and sanitation, mambo ya choo haikuwa, tulikuwa tunaenda kwa bushi huko chini. Mambo ya maji ilikuwa ni shida, sababu hiyo maji mahali tulikuwa tunaendea ni mbali sana.
Phase 2 of the Nairobi Sewerage Improvement Project, being implemented by the Athi Waterworks Development Agency, seeks to address some of these sanitation challenges.
General scope for NASIP 2 is rehabilitation and restoration and expansion of the Dandora sewerage treatment project. We are expanding it from around 160,000 cubic meters to 320,000 cubic meters per day. We are also constructing around 400 kilometers of reticulation sewers, which are basically going to be collecting sewers from different areas within Nairobi and transmitting it to the trunk mains that were done under NASIP 1, so that the sewer can be taken to the treatment plant so that it can be properly treated.
With 22 informal settlements in Nairobi, the project focuses on increasing sewerage coverage and improving sanitation in 15 informal settlements.
The aspect of informal settlements, this is where we cannot be able to do the sewers like the formal areas because of the nature of housing and development within those areas. So in order to reach the informal settlements, NASIP 2 has conceptualized to do 25 new abolition blocks and rehabilitate another 25 abolition blocks. So in total there will be 50. This will be targeted to the communities that currently do not have proper sanitation facilities.
Residents say poor sanitation is a major challenge.
Sasa wakati tulikaa pamoja, tukaanza kuona mbele kitu ambayo itasaidia ni kuwa na joo, lakini unajua hatukuwa na finance ambayo tunaweza chenga joo, na wale watu wako hapa hawana alternative nyingine ijapokuwa kuweka kinyesi kwa karatasi halafu kutupa huko mbali mahali inaenda kuanguka, yeye ajui. Lakini wakati tuliingia pamoja tukakutana na watu wa At Water ambayo wakaanza kutufundisha, wakasema kuna njia ya kutatua hiyo shida ambayo mko nayo kwa kijiji, mambo ya maji, mambo ya siwa na mambo ya choo.
Construction of this abolition block has not only improved sanitation, but also security and education for young children.
Usiku unapata msichana hawezi toka aende nje kwa choo ama huko kwa msitu huko. Ndio sana sisi tunatumia hii flying toilet. So unapata msichana akienda kunjikinga nje kidogo, vijana wamembeba, wamempeleka, wamepata bibi.
As teenagers we didn't have a toilet to go to. Like tulikuwa tunashare choo. Choo moja tunaenda like watu wote. Hakuna mwenye anakumbuka kumwaga maji. Saa inaikuwa hard sana kutumia choo mtu ashatumia.
A similar abolition block is complete in Korogosho slums, much to the relief of the community here.
This project has provided trucks. This project has provided exhausters, trucks to assist the water company, that is Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company, to unlock blockages, flush the lines, the sewer lines, so that we don't have blockages. We don't have sewage pouring on our roads.
At the Waterworks project was long overdue because in this area we don't have lot toilets. Initially we used to have pit latrines, and when it fills up, it becomes a problem. So at the Waterworks came at the right time when we really needed them most, especially to the organization, because we deal with teen mothers, and working with around 300 teen mothers in the area, they need somewhere which is very clean.
Phase 1 of Nairobi Sewerage Improvement Project increased sewerage coverage from 40 to 48%. The second phase targets to increase sewerage coverage from 48% to 55%.
We have another component called conversion of pit latrine to power flush system, where we find the existing pit, and then we do a conversion just to connect the households. Then we are also doing the last mile consumer connection, where we are connecting the households to those who are not connected to the sewer. We do a simplified sewer, then we connect them.
Under the project, 25 abolition blocks are being constructed, while 25 existing blocks are earmarked for refurbishment.
Basically, all the designs are based on the space that is available. So we assess the space. We have our architect. He goes and does his own assessment, and then he designs according to the space. Some of them also have an additional social hall on top, depending on the location, so as to add to the sustainability of the project.
The project has been set up in public spaces to ensure it serves as many people who need it as possible. And while beneficiaries have hailed the project, more needs to be done to connect more households in informal settlements to the sewerage system to significantly reduce pollution and ensure a healthier population, as well as end the menace of flooding owing to blockages.
Is much welcome. But now we take a quick breather, but in not too long we're going to be speaking sports with none other than Daniel Wahome.
With serious agendas, beautiful. Atik, you mean even today is beautiful today?
What full story? Do you think you will get away with this? Do you know me?
What is wrong with you guys? You want Musemme. Why can't you just mind your own businesses? And of course, this woman is Araya.
Ma'alimu Banis, we just did our job.
Your job is also to use your medulla oblongata.
Can't you people stay without drama for 1 month? Just 1 month, Must I keep up cleaning up your messes?
Sports News is brought to you by Mozart Bet.
Very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome. Welcome to Sunday Express Sport. Now, Beatrice Chebet broke the world record on her way to an outstanding 10,000-meter victory at the Prefontaine Classic Diamond League meeting in Eugene, Oregon last night and guaranteed her a place at the Paris Olympic Games in July. Daniel Mateko won the men's 10,000-meter race.
Beatrice Chebet smashed the 10,000 meters world record at last night's Eugene Diamond League in the United States. Chebet did not just break the world record, but became the first female athlete to finish the 25-lap race in under 29 minutes, clocking 28 minutes 54.14 seconds, slashing almost 5 minutes from her personal best time. She finished way ahead of Tega Iguda of Ethiopia, who was second 11 seconds behind, while Lilian Kasaid settled for third position.
Here she comes! This is the fastest women's 10,000 meters you have ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, the world record has gone!
Daniel Mateiko led a string of Kenyan athletes in the men's race as they all struggled for a Paris Olympic ticket. Mateiko won in 26 minutes 50.81 seconds ahead of Nicholas Kipkorir and Bernard Kibet, who were the other two on the podium. Beatrice Chepkoech and Faith Cherotich finished second and third respectively in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, won by Uganda's Peruth Chemutai. The Diamond League Series heads to Oslo for the 6th leg on 30th of May.
We will have to wait until tomorrow to know who they will face in the final of the Mozartbet Cup. After the semi-final between Kenya Police and AFC Leopards was stopped in the second half due to safety concerns of match officials. Police were leading a 0-0 at the time the game was stopped. And in a decision made this evening, the FKF Leagues and Competitions Committee has rescheduled the match to 11 a.m. tomorrow, and it is to be played from the 60th minute and behind closed doors at the Police Sacco Stadium.
KCB have progressed to the final of the Mozartbet Cup but will have to wait until tomorrow to know their opponents after the game between AFC Leopards and Kenya Police was stopped in the second half due to crowd trouble. Kenya Police were leading 1-0 at the time before the match officials felt unsafe and halted the match. The game will now continue in the second half tomorrow in an empty Police Sacco Stadium. Earlier, KCB secured their final place after beating Kariobangi Sharks 4-2 on post-match penalties after a 1-1 draw at the end of the 90. After a goalless first half, KCB went ahead in the 76th minute, but that lead lasted only 2 minutes before Sharks levelled to send the match into an extra time. After the 120 minutes of play, the match was decided from the spot, KCB netting 4 as Sharks lost 2 spot kicks. Champions of the Mozartbet Cup will pocket 2 million shillings, while the losing finalists will walk away with 1 million shillings.
Wilson Omondi!
Now, Egyptian giants Al Ahly have once again reigned supreme as kings of African club football following their 1-0 win over Tunisia's Esperance in the final of the CAF Champions League played at the Cairo International Stadium.
Al Ahly have been crowned African champions after beating Esperance in the CAF Champions League finals. Al Ahly's only goal of the match came courtesy of an unfortunate own goal by Roger Outlaw in the 4th minute. A galling chance for Esperance came in the 52nd minute, but the strike went inches wide. It eventually ended 1-0 in favor of the club of the century, who were crowned champions of Africa once again in front of their home fans in Cairo. This was the Egyptians' 12th title. Both Al Ahly and Esperance had already qualified for FIFA's expanded 32-team Club World Cup, which will be held in the United States in June and July next year, alongside Wydad Casablanca and Mamelodi Sundowns. Faith Akinyi for Sunday Express.
Yemen's volleyball team defeated Trailblazers in straight sets in the quarterfinals of the KVF League playoff match played today at the Kasarani Stadium to lock the tie at 1-1 in the three-match series. The two sides will meet in the decider tomorrow at the same venue, with the winner securing a last four slot.
KPA and Trailblazers will meet in the third game of the three-match series to decide the team that will progress to the KVF League semi-finals. After losing the first game 3-2, KPA came into the second game strongly to win the return fixture by 3 straight sets of 25-21, 25-22 and 25-15.
We needed the short balls after we have a good reception and the A-pass is there. Then we have to use all players who are in the court, the short balls on the right and the left. So they really received well.
Do recovery properly for my players, and we'll have to come back and fight again. That's the beauty of best of three in the playoffs. We're up to the task. Let's cross this hurdle first, then we'll plan for the semi-finals.
The two teams will face off tomorrow in the deciding match, with the winner advancing to the last four alongside defending champions Prisons Kenya, GSU and KDF. Meanwhile, KCB Lions head coach Oliver Mangeni has hailed his team for finishing second at the Rugby Super Series in Nairobi. Despite losing 10-18 to Menengai Green Cheetahs in the final of the tournament that made its return after a 10-year wait, Mangeni said his team competed but fell short due to minor errors.
We played well, but a few errors here and there really cost us the game.
Abutwali Buesonga, Levi Amunga, Tyson Okoth and Ibrahim Ayo were the point scorers for the two sides in the finals.
Poor Deputy Captain Boniface Mugunde lost on point in a tough fight against Commonwealth champion Aidan Walsh of Ireland in the Olympic qualifying event ongoing in Bangkok, Thailand. Meanwhile, a record 37 schools and clubs competed at the Kiambu County Aquatics Association organized gala, which ended today at the Wood Creek School in Kiambu.
A successful Kiambu Aquatics Association organized swimming gala ended today at the Wood Creek School. 37 schools and clubs competed and included Aga Khan Academy from Nairobi and Seahorses Aquatics Center from Machakos. A total of 539 participants from Murang'a, Kiambu, Nairobi, Machakos, Nakuru and Kajiado counties competed. In the combined men and women team awards, Seahorses was the overall winners with 42 gold, 27 silver and 25 bronze medals. Genesis and Sailfish were second and third. In the men's division, Super Marlin Swim Club won with 18 gold, 10 silver and 11 bronze, ahead of Genesis and Seahorses. In the women division, Seahorses scooped top honors with 29 gold, 16 silver and 12 bronze, ahead of Sailfish and Genesis, who were on the podium. After completion of the event, focus now shifts to Kiambu County Sprints and Relays to be held on the 15th and 16th of June at Wood Creek School. Meanwhile, Hyundai Motorsport is looking to continue its positive momentum at Rally Italia Sardinia, the 6th round of the 2024 FIA World Rally Championship season, after claiming a first double podium of the season at Rally de Portugal. A similar, if not better result, will be the target at Rally Italia Sardinia, an event at which Hyundai Motorsport has excelled during its decade in WRC. Since 2014, the team has scored 6 victories, 14 podiums and 88 stage wins on the Italian island, all figures it will be hoping to add to over the course of the rally.
Swapping the lead with And that's the sport for tonight. Remember, there's still the volleyball quarterfinals playoffs that we've got to keep tabs on, and also tomorrow at 11 a.m., the final 30 minutes of the match between Kenya Police and AFC Leopards in the Mozart Cup semi-finals. So that's it for tonight. Have a good one. My name is Daniel Wahome. Back to Regina Manyara.
Sports News was brought to you by Mozart Bet.
You can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Well, that puts a cap on Matters Sunday Express, and we're already seeing some of your reactions to that particular feature by Sheila Yogo on the challenges that are faced by intersex persons in the country. And some of the feedback that is actually even coming from studio is that one of our colleagues here is behind the camera just chimed in and said that according to Islam, one of the ways that they actually determine which sex is given, to an intersex child is that first, what organ works, and secondly, the number of ribs. Well, indeed, then there's a correlation, especially when it comes to matters of Christian faith and Islam there, where we know when you're told to find your spouse as a woman, if you're looking for the other rib, your rib and such. Well, keep your feedback coming. You can get us on our various social media platforms, including X at KBC Channel 1. Further details on that particular story just aired are already being uploaded on our YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1. That puts a cap on Matters Sunday Express tonight. I wish you a great start to the week. I'm Regina, Manyara.
Mizimu imesema atakayekuwa kiongozi ni yule pete itamchagua.
Bahari imechafuka. Mrithi wangu ni yule atakayeniletea vuo la kuoga.